This episode of the Jim Stroud Podcast is brought to you by Career Intelligence Weekly, the newsletter that tracks the invisible job market for smarter career decisions. Subscribe now at newsletter.jimstroud.com. 3, 2, 1, Jim Stroud here, reporting for the Jim Stroud Podcast. I'm actually out on the road at a conference. And one thing I like about going to conferences is that you see so many interesting people, you hear so many interesting things. And at this particular conference, I came across someone with a very cool name. His name is Jim.
Great name.
And he is known as the ND Whisperer. Jim, if you would please fully introduce yourself and tell people who you are and what you do.
I'm Jim Durbin. I'm a recruitment, marketing, and talent acquisition consultant. Spent 25 years hanging out basically with Jim Stroud online. But I was just gone through. I've been staffing, headhunting, RPO, internal TA, and now I consult with TA departments how to get more out of their marketing spend and focus on results instead of just your dashboards.
Very cool. Now, you have the nom de guerre, that's fancy, for being known as the Indeed Whisperer. People come from miles around to hear what you have to say about Indeed. What is a common misconception that recruiters may have about Indeed?
I think the biggest one is people don't recognize the size, just how big they really are. So the reason the Indeed Whisperer came about originally was because I trained people on using Indeed resume. I do 3 days worth. Like normally people want to come in and they want to do high-end Boolean or super LinkedIn or some fancy social media, but they're ignoring their own database and they're ignoring Indeed resume. And there are far more people on that than you realize. But it's not Google, it's not Amazon, it's user-generated information. So the one I always joke about is housekeepers. Is housekeeper one word or two? And everybody answers their answer. And the answer doesn't matter what you think. What matters is what they write. Half of the people on Indeed have one word. Half has it as a second word. And there's a few that are even housekeepers, which are the best people to call because no one calls them. They're excited that you followed up. If you don't realize that and you're not getting in far more detail, I mean, there's twice as many people to talk to as you think. So it's not fished out. It's the same argument people made for years. Oh, this is fished out. Give me something new. Instead, focus on these companies that have been around for a while. Really dig in. It's kind of like in the old days when you get a list from A to Z. If everybody starts at the A, no one's ever called from the bottom. And then when you're really good, you start in the middle and work out because no one ever goes through the whole list. And that's the thing. Spend more time in there. And there's a lot more than you think, but you have to think creatively. And you have to think like the candidate, not like what you want it to be.
So recruiters are underutilizing this resource, you think?
100%. Everybody is because, well, they don't train you and teach you. It's why for years. Here's the problem with most software companies. They teach you how to use their software. I've trained 10,000 people teaching people how to do their job using the software. That's a much different. It's not about their metrics. It's about, are you putting a butt in a seat? Are you filling and talking to the right people? That's a completely different game than, oh my God, look at all the searches I came. This is the number of people that I found.
What do you think job seekers should know about Indeed that maybe they don't know, but they should know?
I think the most important part, and it's not just even Indeed, it's all LLMs and all the coaching advice and this horrible advice out there. It's that they're giving you generic advice. So when you're looking at it, if you're doing exactly what any software, Indeed, the Resume Scout does the same thing. If you're just doing what they say, you're going to look like everybody else. So you really do need to pay attention. When they suggest something like, add this line to your resume, make sure it's actually yours. Because what job seekers are finding is they write these resumes or they drop it into an LLM and actually Indeed uses OpenAI to do the exact same thing. The problem is that they're suggesting things, but you're not paying attention to it. The point of a resume is to have a standing conversation with a recruiter, with a manager, with a company. If you don't know what's on your resume, you're going to look like an idiot. And if someone looks at your resume and goes, that doesn't make sense, you get tossed out ahead of time if you're doing something generic. And if they ask you and you just added it because it looked good, you're ruining your chances of getting it. And you look foolish. And I think it's because they want to make it so easy. They're all bragging about time, saving time. Well, that's not it. It's about getting a job. If you've applied for 1,000 jobs, you're doing it wrong. That's one of the things that scale. First of all, you didn't really apply to 1,000 jobs. You clicked apply and then let some bot do it. But if you apply, and plus it feels horrible. Can you imagine being turned down 1,000 times? How do you get up in the morning?
It's my college life all over again.
But if you go at it from a different standpoint of like, what am I learning? What is the actual company? And you're showing real intent. You can also judge the company by hey, dude, if they're treating you like a number, the correct answer is not to act like a number. It's find companies that value your individuality and what you actually bring to the table. If you don't, the point of writing a resume is to think, what does I actually do? That's the key to it. And unfortunately, most of these softwares, it's all about the win. The win is not getting the job. It's what you do in the job. And I think that's one of the things we've sadly pushed off, that the whole point of anything is getting it, as opposed to what are you going to do with it, how successful will you be, are you setting yourself up for success? And it's harder to do, but it's worthwhile. It's worthwhile selecting your career and actually paying attention to it. It's not hard. The whole point is, if it seems too easy, it is. If it's too easy, of course, who's not going to do it? But if it actually takes a little bit of effort, are you putting the right effort into the right kinds of companies? I think that's what's missing. I think that's where software has robbed us of a lot of that.
Not putting the right effort on the right companies, like not being intentional about your career.
Yeah, and unfortunately, there's not a good way to talk about this to most people because let's put the blame squarely where it belongs on TA, recruiting, HR, personnel. It's our fault because we created systems that they don't trust us. They don't believe if they actually, this is why no one wants to fill out a long job. Because if they do, they don't think it's worth it. But it is worth it if you knew you got the job. If I say, here's $2 million if you actually spend 45 minutes filling out a Workday application, you'll do it. But if you're filling out a job for $18 and you're spending all this time and you never even hear back and you get an immediate rejection, you're like, well, I don't want to get rejected and waste my time.
Sure.
It's not a waste of time. So you have to believe it's worth your time, which means the company has to treat you better if you put that time in. And I think that's where people are going. That's what we're teaching companies, is that you have to determine the intent. It's because people apply to 30 jobs and then you call and they're like, who is this again? Well, you've just ruined your chances by saying it because you don't care. It's just a job. So the whole point of job boards and the whole point of applying is to show I have an intent. I want to work for this company. I want to find out more. I want to apply to that. But there's a second part of that. If job seekers show an intent and they've done the work, the company has to come back with respect. You have to respect the fact that you put time and attention into it. And unfortunately, think of it this way. So a manager will go, hey, go out and look at 100 candidates. So if a sourcer calls 100 people and has a 30-minute conversation, that's 50 hours of work. How much time did the manager put into it? A few minutes. So when they go in the interview, even though you've been screened and filtered and you feel like you're in a process, and they go, well, let me look at your resume. Your first thought is, mother, really? You care so little. I've been invested.
Right.
You're mad, and you should be. It is. So we have to get to that point where job seekers show intent, but companies respect the effort they put into it, and that's a heavy lift. But in the age of automation, it's really the only way to find good people and keep them.
You mentioned automation. I know a lot of job seekers. They use AI to create the perfect resume, the perfect cover letter, and then they send that in. Are they hurting themselves by doing that? Because if everybody is doing that, and a lot of people are, before they submit to a job, is that hindrance to them, or is it help to them to have these AI generated?
It's a waste of time. It's ruining everybody's time. And it's logical.
Okay.
It makes sense. Why wouldn't you? It's no different. In the old days, you could pay $5,000 as an executive.
Yeah.
And somebody would write out letters and they'd send your resume out to 5,000 companies and they all got read and you got jobs from it.
Right.
If it was slow, that was expensive and they sent the mail. But if everybody did it, nobody could. So it was about being slightly different. The first people who did that, so people have been automating stuff for a long time.
Sure.
And usually in IT or something, it was okay. the problem is somebody got excited and they said, oh my God, I shot out 10,000 resumes. I got 4 interviews and an application. I saw it on Reddit. I remember the original post several years ago. And they got excited and I got 3 job offers. And everybody said, I'm going to do it too. The problem is the first person did it because it was new. The next person, I want to look at the efforts of everybody else. I want to talk to these people doing it, saying, did you get anything? Was the job, how much time has been wasted? It feels good. It's no different from the old days. I remember my dad was looking for a job. He was a widower, and so he took care of my stepmother for a long time, and then she passed, and he had to get a job because he had to figure out something to do. Otherwise, he passes. And I remember sitting upstairs in my house, just clicking apply like a rat on a pellet. Click, 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 click. And it feels like you're looking for work, but you're not. You're not. Right. You're not. And but it feels like it. And if you say, well, I spent all day looking for it. And when you tell people, oh, I applied for a job at PepsiCo. PepsiCo doesn't know it. You're one of 200,000 resumes that poured in. So what's very important in that is it seems like a good idea, but how important is your career to you? How important is learning something? And the answer is if you used to put all this effort into finding 2 or 3 jobs and then you got a fair shake at it. Now you're putting the same amount of effort, but you're spreading it over 1,000 jobs and it's not doing you any good. So the real question is why do you want the job? Who do you talk to? Is the company going to show you that back end? It doesn't work. It doesn't work, and it makes you feel like an idiot.
So how does it, from a job seeker perspective, then how should they view Indeed? Is it a necessary evil? You got to apply because you just got to, but then you also have to do your networking, and you also have to improve your skills, or is it all of those things?
The problem is Indeed is so big, and there's lots of difference. So some people applying for jobs, if you're a radiologic technician or technologist, it's not bad. You can get what you're looking for as you're searching around for it. For a lot of people, it's a total waste of time. So it depends. So you should try it, but it shouldn't be the only thing you do.
And when you mentioned radiologist technician, I know those people are hard to find. I mean, they're hard to hire.
Right.
And there's a huge demand for them. So it's sort of like being, the best looking guy at the beach, and all the women look at you. Well, that's just the advantage.
You can't just tell your buddy, be me.
Yeah, because everybody doesn't have that.
Yeah.
So if you are in a position or in a career where it's not a huge hiring demand.
Right.
So I guess what I'm asking is, Indeed and sites like it is best when you are in a position when your job is in a high hiring demand position.
Well, I mean, it's also good for other jobs, but a lot of job seekers don't. Remember when you're a recruiter and you talk to somebody and they go, I've never talked to a recruiter before. And you didn't say this, but in your head you're like, but that's because you've never taken a job that mattered before. That's why no recruiters call you. And most people before 30, a lot of them don't have great jobs. They're just doing it because their uncle said it or their friend said it. It's I got jobs. I remember the first time, so all my jobs came from people I knew until one day I popped on Monster and I got this job at a tech systems club. I'm like, oh, this is really cool. It was brand new at the time. And don't think of it as the only way you're doing it. It's not that it's not useful, because a lot of people get hired from Indeed.
Yeah.
But it's not the end all be all. And are you being thoughtful about what you want, or you just want a job? I think that's the big question. And it's a lack of respect for how humans work, and we see that up and down where companies think Amazon thought there was an endless supply of people in Phoenix. And they ran out of people. They literally ran out of people because they put the distribution centers in other places. And they're like, we can't hire anyone. We have to move this. And then they magically raised the rate up $4, and suddenly there was a brand new. Right? So there's some of that that's in place too. So I'd be careful of myths, or if somebody tells you, not to make fun of the boomers, but you're not walking in someone's room, office, shaking their hand and getting a chance.
Yeah.
Like they're still pitching I'll work free for a week. Well, that's illegal. You can't actually do that. Yeah. But be careful. Those myths sometimes sound good. You have to actually run them through. Is that true? You don't just dismiss it, but you actually dig in when they say it. And this is tough because most people just want to give some advice and they feel good for you. And you can't talk to recruiters. This is the dirty part. Look, I love recruiters, but why would you talk to a recruiter about getting a job? Like, it seems counterintuitive because you know what recruiters are really good at? Screening people for the company they work for. You would not go to somebody who worked at Google or SpaceX and ask them how to get a job at Marriott. That's not going to, totally different worlds. And if you actually interview, we've seen this with all the people that lost their jobs in HR and TA, or every 10 years we lose half the industry. Those people don't know how to be interviewed, because being interviewed is a completely different skill than interviewing. I'm an expert at teaching people how to interview. When I actually went and looked for a job, not only was my resume horrific, like people made fun of me for it. My first interviews were really bad because it's not the same thing. So we think, I talked to a recruiter and he can help me. No, if you haven't taught people, it's just a totally different skill set. So it's dangerous because we want to help, but we're not useful.
I think you hit on something with that interview thing, because just from my experience, the best candidate, the most qualified candidate, isn't always the one that's hired. It's the one that can sell themselves to the recruiter and to the hiring manager. If they have the gift of gab, if they can schmooze their ways, and they're not as skilled as the next person.
Or maybe they're just far enough in the funnel that the manager's tired of asking questions. That happens a lot.
That happens too.
Like 4 people were better, but they weren't perfect, and now you're just tired and you're like, fine. Oh, this one was great because they answered this question. And it's almost like clockwork.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's okay because they're human beings, and we have this tendency. It's idiotic to think candidates or job seekers should be perfect. Like, you don't want a perfect interview. You actually want to get into doing a job. It's also a little crazy to say, if you find yourself saying, the company should do this or recruiter should do that, that's just justification. That's a cope. Human beings have to learn to connect to each other. The idea that somehow they're responsible for making your life perfect, it'd be great if they did, but you're a fool if you think that everybody's perfect, and they should. My grandmother used to talk about that. See, now they're mad at us.
They're coming for us.
My grandmother always said, if you think something's unfair, what you mean is unfair to you.
Yeah.
And that's why I ban the word should in all my organizations.
Okay.
Because should doesn't mean anything. Should. The world's unfair. It's mean and evil and greedy. You're lucky if it's there.
Speaking of mean, unfair, and greedy, there's a phenomenon of ghost jobs. Indeed has...
Yeah, I've seen your post. I disagree.
Has several ghost jobs. For those who don't know, if you're a job seeker, you definitely know what it is. But it's when a company posts a job and there isn't a job. They're just posting it there for a variety of reasons. Maybe they need to post it because they're going to make an internal hire, but they got to make it look good. Or maybe they're posting it because they want their stock price to grow. They want to show that the company's growing. See, we're growing. We have 1 million jobs posted.
This is such a dangerous conversation.
What do you think about the whole
Because
ghost job?
we can't even disagree on the count of just posting a job because you're required to, even if you have an internal.
Yeah.
It's not that it's a ghost job. It's just your chances of getting a job are very small, and they're required to post it.
Well, you can say it for any job.
Yeah.
You only have one hire.
You never know exactly. And then there's the idea that people are posting phantom jobs, and there are some tech companies that do that. The elements others, but they're very rare. Or they're scams. It's nonsense that they're posting them because it's not.
Well, what about the folks who post a job because they're always looking for the mythical perfect candidate, or they're just filling up their resume databases?
The bigger concern is sometimes tech makes it bad. Like, we actually looked at one for Glenn Caffey. He kept getting it, and he asked about it. And what happened is it's not bright, but Workday and Phenom, they turned it off in a Workday, but Phenom never got the notification. So Phenom kept posting it every 4 months because of a bad integration. There's a big kind of MasterCard that was doing this. And so I went and looked in there because, like, why is this being reposted? Like, people think that they see the same job. Sometimes it's just tech gone bad. Or because career sites are open, someone scraped it. They're not authorized to do so, but you can't stop them. So you're looking at a company, you're looking at a job board or something that scraped something. It's no longer open. So, I mean, we get it, but the idea that we're all just posting ghost jobs it's someone who's never worked internally, but it's so damaging because if you think that's true, and these idiots saying 40% of all jobs are ghost jobs, let me clear that up. There are some resume companies who use this thing called Pullfish, which is an online, it's a joke in the marketing world. You pay $99 and it's an internet user, and they all claim they get paid a few cents to answer it. And so this is where you see the ridiculous headlines that are out there. And what happens is they pay PR companies to then push it. And because journalists aren't journalists anymore, I've seen on MSNBC, the Wall Street Journal's fallen for it, staffing industry analysts. They see it from a reputable source because they were publishing it for a PR firm. The next thing you know, it's spread all over the place. This is the one that said 48% of Gen Z employees have their parents call in during the interview.
That's
It doesn't
true.
pass the smell test, and yet people still. It's the same thing with ghost jobs,
yeah.
and if you go back and all you have to do is if you see one of those, you look at the resume builders, one of the worst. They go and I'll say it because you just point to it. I've seen all their posts, and some of the headlines are so outrageous that they have to apologize. So they seem like it fits your agenda. They're like, well, we're posting it, and this is the problem with social. People can make things up, and if they're just wrong, but that's sexy. People like it. It brings clicks and engagement, but it's damaging to read it. If you found out that every time you apply for a job it's a waste, you're not going to do it. So you got to guard your mind in the same way. It's like Fayal. 98% of men cheat if they work in the catering business. I mean, how would they even know that? But if you read that and you meet a guy who's a caterer, he'd be the best guy in the world. You're not going to do it because now you believe a fake thing that somebody else did to get some clout. So you really got to guard your mind and ask, does this make sense? And even if it is true, how does it impact me?
Yeah.
You know, so humans are very bad at statistics for a reason. I believe 87% of all statistics are made up on the spot. It might be 87.4.
That might be true. There's a lot of angst among job seekers these days. They want a job because things are as they are, and they're complaining about their experience getting a job. Who ultimately is to blame? What change needs to happen? Does it need to be job seekers need to change their strategies? Does it companies need to do better with their candidate experience? Is it that companies need to be more intentional about promoting their culture? Who gets the blame for it being like it is?
History. You realize this is not the worst it's ever been.
It's not. It feels like it.
Of course, because we're living through it.
Yeah.
Right, and it depends, and it's you don't realize how it used to be. Like if Hollywood complains about something, you laugh because of the money they make.
Yeah.
Like when someone's complaining about how much money, you're like, so you want to go back to the old days, the 1930s, when you signed a contract and you were owned by the studios.
Yeah.
No one complains about that now. Or who was it? I forget who it was. She was complaining about how great it was. It was the girl from Hunger Games. I forget her name, but
Jennifer Lawrence.
yeah, how great it is to have a female action lead. And you're like, Princess Leia was pretty important in Star Wars. Have you seen Terminator?
Sarah
2?
Connor? Yeah.
I mean, oh
yeah.
my God, what are you talking about? Ripley? I mean, it's just complete ignorance of before because they're looking for stuff. And I think it is bad but we're going through turmoil. We also went through really good times where money was 0% interest. Frauds, the government was great. So people all made this money. They got into the pandemic. So some of it's just a shaking out. You have to pay that price. You have to deal with that. And we've made decisions globally and in terms of free trade and outsourcing and all this stuff and how people make money. There's a lot of stuff that impacts that. And so is it rough? Yes. But how much of that is expectations? How much is that, well, this isn't fair to me because my grandfather, look at Married with Children.
Love that show.
Al Bundy afforded a house and a car.
Yeah.
They were poor, but just working in a shoe store in the mall. They don't have malls anymore. Homer Simpson was, you see what people used to be able to make.
Yeah.
And certainly inflation and other things, but also you've got phones, you've got crazy, it is an expectation piece. Like whenever someone's complaining about it and then they have the premium Spotify, you're like, I get it. And it's not avocado toast. Like I'm not downplaying it. But if it is this bad, what are you going to do? You're going to roll over? You are the product of thousands of generations of people who somehow made it through. And you're like, oh, it's not fair? Get up and fight. Push forward. Make a difference because somebody's going to make it. Somebody's going to make it. The question is are you tough enough? And it's a hard thing to do, but maybe don't just think about it yourself. What do you want your generations, 4 generations away to say? Like that's the real question. There's actually a great movie out with Keanu Reeves and Seth Rogen I found on the plane. I forget the movie of it, but it was about here. Seth Rogen's rich and Aziz is poor and Keanu's an angel. And you can see, they point out how tough it is. Like the gig economy is tough.
Sure
like
it is.
It is tough, and then you have, but how much of that is set of expectation? So it's who you surround yourself, what you do, and have a little courage and hope. a little courage and hope. I know that's tough, but human beings are wired to win, and Americans are wired to win. Listen to a George Patton speech and get out there and put your time and effort in. Don't be stupid about it. Don't let someone take advantage. But put that effort in, and then demand that respect. It's the only answer. It's the only answer, because otherwise just give up, watch Netflix, do some drugs, and call it a day, which a lot of people do.
People are, yeah.
I know it's hard. But if it is
what it
life
is.
is tough, man.
I think I'm going to end on that inspirational note. If somebody wanted to reach out to you for more information about and want to speak to the Indeed Whisperer, how could they find you online?
Well, job seekers shouldn't, because honestly, I'd have to sit and work. I do this with like cousins and nephews and stuff like that, and it's brutal. You know this. And no one ever listens to me. So I've stopped giving advice. I've actually counted. It's 14 people over 25 years have ever actually listened. But they would have been fine on their own anyway. So I can't help you with that. I don't have a magic pot of jobs. But if you're a company looking, search Indeed Whisperer or look me up on LinkedIn. My company's Respondable. Because what I can do is I can make it that even though these other companies are all doing horrible stuff, we can show you how to be better and how to hire the right people. Here's the beauty of it. We're talking about this inside. We know what works.
Yeah.
We actually know how to make things work. But you have to actually put the work in and try. We know that it works because you and I know lots of people have been successful. We've seen companies do well.
Sure.
But sometimes life or other things are like, look, you can work out, eat right, and be in great shape. But if you sit around ordering DoorDash and stuff, and you have to work to get back. So we do know that it works. We just have to have the courage ourselves internally to say, hey, what do we want? What are the outcomes we're looking for? And that's what I'm focused on now. How do I get companies to understand what's going on? Because you're impacted by other people. Mm-hmm. How do you figure out what results do you want? And are you willing to go the extra mile to find great people? Or you just think that they're replaceable? Because I can't work with someone like that. Because what's the point? There's plenty of slop companies, they'll throw something out there. But really, overall, you know great companies and you know great workers. And what do they all have in common? Respect for each other. That is the key. So let's connect those, and we'll let the other people sit and whine and complain about it. But be a winner or don't be a winner. But pick a side.
Good advice. Jim Durbin, the Indeed Whisperer, thank you for being on the Jim Stroud Podcast.
Thank you, Jim.
You have been listening to the Jim Stroud Podcast, a proud member of the Purple Acorn Network. If you like what you heard, hate what you heard, or don't know what you just heard, I want to know about it. Email your questions and comments to podcast@jimstroud.com. That's podcast@jimstroud.com. Do it now. Operators are standing by. Well, that's it for now. I'll be back later, right here, with a brand new episode. So until then, bye-bye.